Eddie Hearn weren't about to be denied. He got up in the ring after Katie Taylor controversially outpointed Amanda Serrano. And they tried to get him out of the ring, but Eddie wasn't having it. He stood his ground. He eventually got out. And they were making their way to the table for the press conference. And obviously, Eddie Hearn's got the $100 million lawsuit against Jake Paul. Jake accused Matchroom of paying off the judge Glenn Feldman, who scored in Katie Taylor's favour in the first fight in 2022. So there's a bit of a beef between the two. As Eddie made his way to the table, he was blocked. But Brian Peters, Katie Taylor's manager, he was incensed by this and he threatened to boycott the press conference. And obviously you can't have the press conference without Katie Taylor, and they pushed past the security and Eddie made his way to the table. It's been a tough period for Matchroom, so getting a big victory like that, Eddie Hearn was thinking he wasn't going to be denied. He spoke about the Tyson fight. Obviously, Jake promotes Amanda Serrano. Jake outpointed Tyson in the main event, and he said he didn't watch it. He was in the arena, obviously, but he didn't watch it. He said he hopes not to see Mike Tyson in the ring again at age 58. If people are willing to pay him, then he probably will. But on the strength of his display on Friday, it's unlikely anyone's going to pay for Mike to fight again. And whether he wants to get in the ring or not, the bottom line is all dependent on who's willing to pay for it. I think Netflix will be paying for another Mike Tyson fight. Like I say, a lot of people gas Mike up, and at times he probably feels like he's Superman. If he fights someone his age, like Lennox Lewis, who's a year older than him, or a third fight with Holyfield, who's beat him twice, Lennox has beat him also, then it's a more even playing field. You know what I'm saying? You might be able to sell that. Like before Jake, he fought Roy Jones, which was more age appropriate in terms of matching the two fighters. And I don't know what strains of weed Mike's been smoking over there, thinking he could beat someone who was active and half his age. Or if his ego is just that out of sync with reality.
To me, it cheapens the sport. When I think of kids that are training for the top flight amateur competitions all over the world, all over the globe, putting in the proper sacrifice and the proper dedication, not getting even a fraction of the money that was at stake last night, or the professionals that are training at area or British level or Commonwealth European level, not getting the attention, to see a 58-year-old man that shouldn't be anywhere near a boxing ring going against a boxing novice, and not a very good one, putting up millions. I said yesterday, the worrying thing about it is probably going to get worse.
The whole narrative that Jake or Mike have to justify their fight, that the poor amateurs fighting in all the IBA competition cycles, the pros fighting at British, Commonwealth or European level don't get a fraction, is this big travesty. I don't know how you correlate the two. Boxing is boxing. Boxing is a sport. Business is business. Tom Gray, who was talking, he's almost trying to turn it into a social issue. Well, the amateur clubs in the UK have been closing down rapidly over the past how many years. No disrespect to Tom Gray, TalkSport, the government. They're not going to help bail out a club that is on the verge of going under. The people who will do something are the movers and shakers, the promoters and the boxers, who have managed to elevate British boxing commercially. Anthony Joshua 2020, during the lockdown, gave the amateur boxing federations of England, Wales and Scotland a 6-figure fee to stay open during its most trying time, and that was the lockdown. But when Anthony Joshua goes to fight Francis Ngannou, oh, this ain't real boxing. Or even when Tyson Fury did it, people start complaining. Eddie Hearn, he bailed out the Lynn Club, the oldest amateur club, I believe, in the country. He bailed them out, a Matchroom, £10,000. And you can see Ellie Scottney, who used to train there, in the picture with him. But when Eddie puts on Logan Paul versus KSI, oh, this ain't real boxing, you're hurting the sport, you're hurting the sport. Anthony Joshua has had one fringe novelty fight, if you like, in his career. But he's ruining boxing, but yet he's bailed out all these federations. How is the money generated? The money is generated by him going in the ring. Because I tell you what, I don't want to put my hand in my pocket to bail out the amateur clubs. I'll be honest with you. Do you? But people like Tom Gray and a lot of people who listen to this video, you're of the mindset that, yeah, you should bail out the amateur clubs and not take a Francis Ngannou fight. Or you shouldn't make a Logan Paul KSI fight. So the entrepreneurs have to stunt themselves to make less money, but yet pay out to bail out amateur clubs and keep the amateur scene, the amateur circuit going. What are the facts though? Most people who call out, oh, this ain't authentic and I only support real boxing, you're the biggest frauds out there. Tom Gray's talking about, I think, of the amateur kids who got to train hard and compete at the local and international tournaments, and the fighters who fight at European and Commonwealth and British level as pros. And to see KSI and Mike Tyson taking all that money out of the game, it breaks my heart and all this crap here. Stop trying to tug at people's heartstrings about this fake injustice and your fake outrage about the fake injustice. But yeah, it was a cheap shot, Tom, really. You want to talk about the hardships boxers go through, you wait until the biggest event of the year, which probably is Tyson versus Jake Paul. Apparently the Netflix numbers are astronomical. You wait until then to highlight the hardships of boxers. No, you've got to do it when there's not a big event. And you've got to be consistent. Boxing is more so a fringe market right now, right? It is what it is. And here's the facts. This weekend, boxing had a choice to make, right? And this has nothing to do with Jake Paul. And boxing made its choice. And they went for Netflix. They went for Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. The only people you can be mad at is the people who chose to buy it. And even then, it's their choice. Boxing made its choice. Whether you like it or not, if it's not authentic enough for you or not, boxing made its choice. Live with it and deal with it. What is Netflix? An app, yeah? Remember the apps that they were resisting across the pond so hard? Well, you had two apps on Saturday. DAZN and the General Entertainment Authority from Saudi Arabia actually put their card on for free. They put it on free on YouTube, on Golden Boy, and I think maybe the DAZN YouTube channel. Anyone who had Sky Sports or DAZN had it part of their subscription. I'm not sure if TNT had it. More than likely they did. No one can make the argument, oh, a lot of people didn't view it because of piracy and illegal streams. No, the Netflix numbers went off the chain apparently. And you should be glad. You live in a democracy and democracy has spoken. More than likely, the General Entertainment Authority, they probably knew they were going to get snowed under by the Mike Tyson Jake event and just said, yeah, let's put it out for free. But nevertheless, that's what you got. You got two world title fights on that card for free. One a unification. And the other one, the minimum weight guy, Oscar Collazo, if you don't know about him, you need to get to know. Trust me. To Tom Gray, who's so concerned about the struggling amateurs in the Olympic cycles. Well, in case he didn't know, they don't struggle as much as they used to because of a certain Audley Harrison, who actually fought for lottery funding for boxers after he won the gold medal. He didn't stop campaigning after he won gold. He campaigned and campaigned. And then 4 years later, Amir Khan was a benefactor of the lottery money. But how do people talk about Audley Harrison? They talk about him, oh, he's a joke. He's just a joke. Woody, just a joke. So don't try and run it to me about this grassroots appreciation for the game when most of the knuckleheads out there do not give a shit. If they really gave a shit about all that shit you were saying, they wouldn't talk about Woody the way they do. George Groves talking about we need to protect the soul of boxing from the sublime to the ridiculous. He's talking about the 50-50 fight between Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano, and then I guess the ridiculous is Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. What we need to protect is fighters like Sean McComb, who got robbed earlier this year against Arnold Barboza on a Golden Boy card, only for Arnold Barboza to return to Riyadh season because his promoter has a deal with Turki Al Sheikh to outpoint a shot-worn Jose Ramirez. And now, not only did he preserve his unbeaten record earlier in a Sean McComb fight, he's probably going to get any type of title shot or eliminator before Sean McComb. And they didn't even run it back with Sean McComb. And when I'm saying Sean McComb routed Arnold Barboza, it was one of the worst decisions I've seen. We need to protect fighters like Sean McComb. And then fans might not be walking away from the sport in droves thinking, yo, I came to support my man from Ireland. Or maybe they was neutral and thought, yo, this is rotten to the core. Jake Paul is not the ridiculous. Jake Paul is not the ridiculous. You know, people are talking like Mike Tyson got persecuted. I didn't see Mike spitting teeth out of his mouth. I didn't see Mike bleeding. I didn't see Mike on the canvas several times, whether it was staged or Jake took it easy on him, or maybe the 2-minute rounds or the 14-ounce gloves added to the fact that Jake isn't that good, was unable to put Mike away inside the distance. You know, if Mike was fighting for his life post-fight, then okay, fair enough. Mike's up and about, spending his 20 million, telling war stories. What are you talking about, restore the soul? No, forget Mike. Mike got the bag. What about Sean McComb? This is what Sean McComb posted on Twitter, post-fight Barboza versus Ramirez. I don't ask anyone for anything. On this occasion, I will. At Eddie Hearn, you watched me school at Junior Barboza Arnold live. Give me an opportunity to do it again. Sean is 32. Time is running out. You might be uncomfortable with Tyson and Jake Paul, but you're going to have to deal with that. That's your hang-up. That's your issue. That's just market forces. Perhaps the punters are sick of boxers getting robbed, and then the fight not getting ran back, and this is supposed to be the serious boxing. Perhaps they think boxing's a joke, and if that's the case, let's go all the way. Influencer against the pensioner. I'm ranting, obviously. It's a different audience that has replaced the old audience with Jake Paul, with Tommy Fury, with Darren Till, etc. It's a different audience. And this is not a rant against Golden Boy. A lot of these criticisms can be labelled at any of the so-called normal boxing promotions. But Oscar was bragging to Eddie Hearn and being supported by that fucking waste man, Rick Glazer. He's bragging, all our fighters won, unlike Eddie losing 5-0. And let me tell you this now. Duarte did not beat Akhmadov. He didn't beat Akhmadov. And one of the fighters who lost a split decision to the WBC #1 ranked 135-pound contender, Cepeda, Tevin Farmer, had an issue with the drug testing protocol, and none of it has been addressed. He didn't hide away. He said it out loud, and it hasn't been addressed. Pro boxing got way worse issues than Jake Paul. Trust me. Like Oscar De La Hoya or Turki Al-Sheikh, who is the Mohegan Tribe Department of Athletic Regulation. They're the commission who oversaw the card. Who are they? Was there VADA testing? Why is Tevin Farmer being ignored? Doesn't this need to be cleared up? Like Dillian White's next opponent in Gibraltar, he had a fight this year against Abayo Agbonson. Tete's from Ghana. Agbonson is from Togo, where the fight took place. He's 47 years of age. Tete's 36, around the same age as Dillian. I'm not going to upload it because copyright. He fought Agbonson April this year. The video's in the description box. And look at the farce of a fight that Dillian's next opponent was in. It's only this isn't high profile. This isn't going to get you viral views like Jake Paul will. Is Dillian cleared to fight in the UK? Has he got a British license? This is a former British champion. Why is he fighting in Gibraltar and Ireland? But again, they're not going to get the mileage out of Dillian's situation like they did out of Conor Benn. Yeah, and if you are unable to view the video, the 47-year-old Agbonson does this Ali shuffle at the start of the fight. Tete seems to be going through the motions, play sparring with him. And then Agbonson throws the most ridiculous right-hand roundhouse punch and falls to the canvas and looks like he injured his arm, or perhaps I'm watching some comedy and the fight's over. Dillian fighting in these remote locations like Gibraltar. Whoever the promoter is cannot pay out for a proper opponent. And this is what you get. I tell you what, Mike Tyson's fight was way more authentic than that one I saw in Togo. The bottom line, and we're going to go back to America, the fans do not want to see Russians, Japanese, Brits or Europeans on their screen boxing, no matter how good they are. They want it to go back to the old way, when HBO and Showtime were showcasing the best of American talent. And they're not going to play ball. It's their way or the highway. Ultimately, they've left the door wide open for the quote-unquote freak show boxing that we saw on Friday. We got the freak show circuit out here. DAZN have the misfits. And the announcement of Darren Till, the former UFC fighter, and Tommy Fury has got a very strong reception. It's going to do good business. I done a hangout about it today asking about Darren Till. Does he have a boxing history? Yeah, he's had one exhibition fight against an opponent making his pro debut, who I believe came from an MMA or martial arts background as well. Everyone wants to be all sophisticated and authentic boxing fan about it. This is what a lot of people want to watch. And if it's popular, it's popular. You got to let things stand on their own merit and fall on the same principle. There can't be censorship on what you want to watch and what I want to watch. You got to let it stand and fall on its own merits. If you don't want to pay for it, don't pay for it. You don't want to watch it, don't watch it. If you're really concerned about the poor amateurs struggling through the Olympic cycle, you can help raise money for them. You can donate to the clubs, right? If you're worried about the small hall fighters struggling to make a living, area, English, British, Commonwealth level, go support them shows. If enough of you really love grassroots boxing, then it will do okay. If not, then it will struggle. The answer is not blaming Jake Paul or Mike Tyson though.